My boyfriend planned to humiliate me on the day I was going to propose to him, so I ruined his life before he could ruin mine. My hand froze, mascara wand midair, but it wasn't the makeup that stopped me. It was his voice, casual and cruel, drifting from the living room, detailing exactly how he planned to shatter my world. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow, so sharp it stole my breath. The bathroom door was ajar, the water wasn't running, and through the sudden, horrifying silence, I heard every word. "No, seriously," he chuckled, "it's going to be hilarious." My heart pounded a frantic rhythm against my ribs. "She's planning to propose to me at Sunday dinner, in front of Mom and Dad." His brother's voice, tinny through the speakerphone, was laced with amusement. "How do you even know that?" "Mom told me," he replied, as if he were discussing the weather. "She asked Mom for permission last week." Can you believe it? My stomach dropped. I could believe it. Because I had. Then came the ice-cold precision of his plan. "So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let her get down on one knee, in front of everyone, pull out the ring, give her whole speech, and then I'm going to say no." The mascara wand clattered into the sink, a tiny, echoing sound in my suddenly vast world. My fingers trembled. "Dude, that's brutal," his brother said, though I could hear the grin in his voice. "Why?" "Because she needs to understand who's in control here," he sneered. "She's been getting too comfortable lately, making plans without checking with me first. This will teach her. Plus, the look on her face is going to be priceless. Mom will cry. Dad will be confused as hell. And she'll be so embarrassed, she'll never try pulling something like this again." I gripped the sink edge, knuckles white. The ring. My ring. The platinum band I'd saved 3 months for, because he'd once mentioned it was more sophisticated than gold, was right now, in my jacket pocket. I'd practiced my speech for weeks, whispered my hopes into the mirror, rehearsed the joy I imagined on his face. His mother had hugged me so tight when I asked her blessing, I could barely breathe. Tears of happiness in her eyes, telling me she already thought of me as her daughter. "You're going to destroy her," his brother laughed. "That's the point," he said, flatly. "She'll know her place after this." My phone was in my hand before I even thought about it. The voice recorder app open. I hit a record. Some primal instinct, deep within the shock, told me I'd need proof later. When the haze wore off. When I started to question if this nightmare was real. I walked out of the bathroom like nothing happened. He looked up from his phone, a saccharine smile on his face. "Ready to go?"
"Yeah,"
I managed, my voice a stranger's. We went to dinner, our usual Italian place. He ordered for both of us without asking, like always. I'd always thought it was considerate. Tonight, I noticed he didn't even glance at me to check if that's what I wanted. He talked about work drama. I laughed in all the right places, my brain screaming the whole time. That night, in bed next to him, I listened to the recording 3 times with my earbuds in. The 4th time, I transcribed every chilling word. Evidence. I barely slept that weekend. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard his voice, "She needs to understand who's in control." The words played on loop, a torturous soundtrack. By Monday morning, I knew I couldn't do this alone. I needed help. Saturday morning, he asked what I wanted to do. "Maybe we could skip Sunday dinner?" I suggested, testing the waters. "Skip it? Why would we skip it?" he frowned. "Not feeling well. Might be coming down with something." "You'll be fine by tomorrow," he dismissed, kissing my forehead. "Take some vitamin C," he went back to his laptop, completely oblivious. Or so I thought. I didn't push. I needed time. And apparently, he needed me there for his little show. So fine, we'd go to Sunday dinner. But I wouldn't be proposing. The weekend dragged. Every casual touch made my skin crawl. This man I'd planned to marry was a complete stranger who'd spent years learning exactly how to manipulate me. By the way, if you're still with me and hanging on every word of this madness, please hit that subscribe button. More unbelievable stories are coming, and you won't want to miss them. Now, back to this unfolding disaster. Sunday morning, I dressed carefully. The ring stayed in my jacket pocket. Some superstitious part of me couldn't leave it behind entirely. His mother opened the door, already beaming. She pulled me into a hug. "There's my sweet girl." The guilt hit like a physical wave. She thought today was a celebration. She'd probably spent all week excited about grandchildren and engagement parties. Dinner was torture. She'd used the good china, lit candles, made my favorite roast chicken. A celebration table. She kept glancing at me expectantly while I barely touched my food. His father asked about work. I gave one-word answers. Everything felt surreal. "You're quiet tonight," his father observed. "Everything okay?" "Just tired. Busy week." "She's been working too hard," he said, squeezing my hand. The touch made me nauseous. I keep telling her she needs better self-care. After dinner came dessert, chocolate cake with raspberry filling, my favorite. She'd even written congratulations in frosting on top, then covered most of it with chocolate shavings, but I could still see the C and part of the yo. Around 8:30, I stood abruptly. "I'm sorry, but I need to go home. Not feeling well." His mother's face fell. "Oh, sweetie. Can I get you something? I just need to lie down." He stood too, annoyed now. "We can stay longer. Just rest here for a bit." "I want to go home." My voice came out sharper than intended. In the car, silence. He didn't put it in drive immediately. "What the hell was that? I told you I wasn't feeling well. You were fine all day. What's going on?" "Nothing. I just want to go home." "My mother made your favorite dinner. She baked a cake. You barely said 10 words. Can we please just go?" He drove, jaw tight. At the apartment, my apartment, though he'd lived there for 2 years, he cornered me in the kitchen. "Talk to me. What's wrong?" I looked at him. Really looked. "Do you love me?" "What? Of course. Why would you even ask that? Do you see a future with me?" "Yes, obviously." "Where is this coming from? If I asked you to marry me right now, what would you say?" His whole body went still. Something flashed across his face, a calculation. Then it smoothed out. "Baby, you don't need to worry about that. When the time's right, we'll talk about it. But if I asked you right now, would you say yes? Why are you pushing this? We don't need to rush anything." "That's not what I asked. I don't know what's going on with you lately, but this isn't normal. You're acting paranoid." There it was. Gaslighting. Making me question my own reality. "I'm going to bed." I went to the bedroom, locked the door, and called my best friend. 20 minutes later, I was on her couch, playing the recording. She listened, her face shifting from confused to horrified. "That asshole. I had the ring in my pocket tonight. But you didn't do it." "No. His mother made this whole special dinner and I just sat there because I didn't know what else to do." "This is not your fault," she insisted. "He hid this. That's what people like him do." We talked for hours. Breaking up was obvious, but complicated. He'd lived in my apartment for 2 years. Legally, I'd need to evict him. We had a joint bank account, mutual friends. His family loved me. This would blow up everything. "Keep that recording," she warned. "Back it up everywhere. If he tries to twist this, you'll need proof." I sent the audio to 3 email addresses. Uploaded it to 2 cloud services. Kept the original. When I got home around midnight, he was on the couch in the dark. "Where were you?" "Out." "Out where? Does it matter?" He stood. He'd never been physical before, but something in his posture made me nervous. "Yes, it matters. You don't just disappear for hours." "I went to talk to someone." "About what?" "Not tonight. I wasn't ready. I'm going to bed." "We're not done talking." "Yes, we are." I locked the bedroom door. Heard him try the handle. Swear when it didn't turn. He knocked. "Open the door." "No. Natalie, open the damn door. Go sleep on the couch." Next morning, I called in sick for the first time in 8 months. Then I called a lawyer. The consultation was free. I told the lawyer everything. She listened, took notes. "Do you feel safe at home?" Physically? Yes. He's never hurt me. But I don't trust him anymore. The apartment's in your name only? Yes. I've lived there 6 years. He moved in 2 years ago, but isn't on the lease. That makes things simpler. You'll need written notice to vacate. In this state, that's 30 days for someone who's lived there over a year. 30 days living with him made me feel sick. You could ask him to leave sooner, but legally he has the right to 30 days after receiving notice. We talked through the joint bank account. I needed to withdraw my money and close it. Document everything. His contributions to rent and bills versus mine. If he tried claiming rights to my apartment or possessions, I'd need proof. Do you think he will? She gave me a look. I think someone who planned public humiliation to establish dominance is capable of anything. Protect yourself. I left with an action plan. Step 1, secure finances. Step 2, serve eviction notice. Step 3, survive 30 days. That afternoon, I opened a new bank account. Calculated how much money in our joint account was actually mine. I'd been the primary earner our whole relationship. His freelance work was sporadic. Some months decent money, other months nothing. I'd never minded. I thought we were a team. I withdrew my half, transferred it to my new account, left his half untouched. Let him try claiming I stole. I had pay stubs proving every dollar. When I got home, he was cooking dinner. Garlic and tomatoes. He smiled. Hey, babe, making pasta, your favorite. The domesticity was jarring. This was what I'd loved. Comfortable routines. Easy affection. Feeling like we were building something together. All a lie. Not hungry. You have to eat something. I'll grab something later. The lawyer said she'd have the eviction notice drafted tomorrow. Part of me wanted to delay, to have a few more days of pretending normal before I blew everything up. But that was fear talking, and I was tired of being afraid. He knocked on the bedroom door around 7. Can I come in? It's open. He set pasta on my nightstand. You need to eat. He sat on the bed edge. We need to talk about yesterday. Okay. I don't understand where this is coming from. Everything was fine and suddenly you're acting like you can't stand being around me. Do you think everything's been fine? Yes, we have normal relationship stuff, but nothing serious. Normal relationship stuff. Yeah, like you work a lot. I wish we had more time together, but I understand your job's important. What about your job? What about it? You work from home. Flexible schedule. Why is it always me adjusting, making time, fitting you into my schedule? He looked baffled. Because your schedule's more rigid. That's just logistics. And housework, cooking, cleaning, laundry, groceries, you're better at that stuff. Or you've never tried being better because I've always done it. Where is this coming from? Is someone putting ideas in your head? These ideas are coming from me. From being in a relationship I'm realizing was never equal. That's not fair. I contribute. I pay rent. Do you? Because I looked at our statements. You've paid your half maybe 6 times this year. The rest I covered. His jaw tightened. I've had a tough year with work. You know that. I do. What I don't know is why you never told me when you couldn't pay. Why you just let me assume you were contributing equally when you weren't. Because I knew you'd make a big deal out of it, like you're doing right now. Making a big deal about you lying to me about money. I wasn't lying. I just didn't mention it. That's literally lying. We stared at each other. This wasn't the conversation I'd planned. I'd meant to serve the eviction notice and keep it simple. But now that I'd started, I couldn't stop. I asked your mother for permission to propose to you. Every muscle in his body went rigid. She said yes. She was so happy. Told me she already thought of me as a daughter. Natalie, I bought a ring. Platinum, because you mentioned once you thought it was more sophisticated than gold. I've been carrying it around for a week. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to understand what you almost destroyed. His face went pale. What do you mean, almost? I pulled out my phone, opened the recording, hit play. His voice filled the room. She's planning to propose to me. Can you believe that? At Sunday dinner, in front of Mom and Dad. I watched him listen to himself plotting my humiliation. Watched color drain from his face, then fled back, angry. Watched him realize he'd been caught. Turn it off. I let it play. Because she needs to understand who's in control here. Turn it off. The look on her face is going to be priceless. He lunged for my phone. I pulled it back. Don't touch me. Where did you get that? I was in the bathroom. You were on speaker. I heard everything. You were spying. I was in my own bathroom and you were loud enough for me to hear. That's not spying. That's you being careless. He stood, pacing, running hands through his hair. Okay, I know how that sounds, but you don't understand. I was just venting to my brother. I wasn't actually going to do it. Weren't you? No. I was just talking, blowing off steam. About publicly humiliating me to teach me a lesson about who's in control. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? I don't know. I was frustrated. You've been making plans without talking to me first. Don't I get a say? You absolutely get a say. That's why I was going to propose so you could say yes or no, like a normal person. Not someone planning psychological torture. That's not what it was. That's exactly what it was. He sat back down, head in hands. When he looked up, there were tears. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I messed up. But we can fix this. We can work through this. No, we can't. Don't say that. Please. I love you. I made a stupid mistake. But I love you. I don't believe you. How can you say that? Because someone who loved me wouldn't have planned what you planned. I was just talking. It doesn't mean anything. It means everything. I walked to my dresser, pulled out the manila envelope, handed it to him. What's this? Eviction notice. 30 days to find a new place and move out. He opened it, scanned it, looked at me like I'd slapped him. You're kicking me out? This is my apartment. I want you to leave. You're actually breaking up with me? Yes. Over this? Over one stupid conversation? Over the fact that you plan to humiliate me. Over you seeing our relationship as a power struggle where you need control. That's not true. Tell me one thing. Why were you with me? Really? Because I love you. Try again. He looked away. I don't know what you want me to say. The truth would be nice. Long silence, then, quietly, you made my life easier. There it was. That's not all it was, he rushed to add. I did love you, but, yeah, being with you was comfortable. You took care of things. You took care of me. Is that so terrible? It is when I'm the only one taking care of anything. When you're coasting along, letting me manage everything while planning ways to keep me in line. I wasn't trying to, yes, you were. That's exactly what you were trying to do. He stood, came toward me. I stepped back. Don't. Don't come near me. I just want to hold you. There's nothing to understand. We're done. You have 30 days. Start looking for apartments. I can't afford my own place right now. Not my problem anymore. So, you're just throwing me out? I'm giving you 30 days notice, which is legally required. You'll figure it out. He stared at me like I was a stranger. Maybe this version of me, who could set boundaries, was someone he'd never met. Fine, if that's what you want. It is. He walked out. I heard the front door slam, then silence. My phone buzzed. Text from my best friend. How'd it go? It's done. You okay? No, but I will be. Next morning, he was still gone, but his clothes were in the closet, laptop on the desk, protein powder in the kitchen. He'd come back eventually. I went to work. Everyone asked if I was feeling better. I said, yes, must have been a 24-hour thing. Smiled and nodded while my internal world collapsed. During lunch, I sat in my car researching narcissistic personality disorder. Not to diagnose him, but to understand what I'd been dealing with. The more I read, the more I recognized the love bombing in the beginning. Gradual erosion of my boundaries. Gaslighting when I questioned things. Isolating me from friends by making it difficult or unpleasant to see them until I stopped trying. My phone rang. His mother. I stared at it. She'd want to know what happened at dinner. Might even know already if he'd talked to her. I couldn't deal with this conversation right now. Let it go to voicemail. She called again, then again. On the fourth call, I answered. Natalie, sweetie, are you okay? I've been so worried. I'm fine. Just busy with work. What happened Sunday? You left so suddenly. I wasn't feeling well. I'm sorry. That's not what he told me. My stomach dropped. What did he say? He said you'd been acting strange all weekend. That you picked a fight on the way home? That you accused him of not loving you. Of course, already spinning the narrative, making me the irrational one. That's not exactly what happened. Then what did happen? I couldn't do this over the phone. Can we talk in person? I'd rather not do this on a call. Do what? Natalie, you're scaring me. I'm not trying to scare you. I just need to talk to you face to face. Are you free tomorrow afternoon? She hesitated. Yes. Come by around 2. I'll make tea. Okay, see you then. I hung up before she could ask more. Tomorrow I'd show her the recording. Let her hear her son's true character in his own words. It would destroy her, but she deserved to know. That night, he came home around 9, walked past me without a word, went to the bedroom, came back with a duffel bag. Where are you staying? My brother's. Okay. I'll be back for more stuff later this week. Fine, just let me know when so I can be here. Why? Afraid I'll steal something? I'd just prefer to be here. He laughed without humor. You really think I'm some kind of monster, don't you? I think you're someone I don't know as well as I thought. Because of one stupid conversation? Because of a lot of things I'm only now letting myself see. He shouldered the bag. My mom called me. Said you want to talk to her tomorrow. I do. About what? About everything. You're going to turn her against me. I'm going to tell her the truth. What she does with it is up to her. She's my mother. She'll take my side. Maybe. We'll see. He stood there looking like he wanted to say more. Then shook his head and walked out. The door closed softly. I waited until I heard his car drive away before I let myself cry. Next afternoon, I drove to his mother's house with the recording queued up and a printout of our bank statements in my bag. Evidence. She answered with a hug that almost made me cry again. Come in, sweetie. Tea's ready. We sat in her kitchen where I'd asked for her blessing 2 weeks ago. Felt like a lifetime had passed. So, she said, pouring tea. Tell me what's going on. I told her everything. The conversation I'd overheard, the planned humiliation, the breakup. She listened without interrupting, but I could see her getting defensive. Walls going up. That doesn't sound like him. He wouldn't do something like that. I have proof. What kind of proof? I played the recording. She listened in silence, face growing paler with each word. When it ended, she was crying. I don't understand. Why would he say those things? Because that's who he is. I just didn't see it. No, you must have misunderstood. He was joking. He jokes around with his brother. Listen to his voice. Does he sound like he's joking? She listened again. This time, I watched her really hear it. The calculation, the cruelty, the control. Oh, God, she whispered. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you want to hear about your son. I raised him better than this. I taught him to respect women, to be kind. I know you did. But something went wrong. She wiped her eyes. What are you going to do? I've already done it. I gave him 30 days to move out. We're done. 30 days? You'll have to live together. Unfortunately, yes. Is that safe? I don't know. Probably. He's never been physical. But I don't know what he's capable of anymore. She reached across the table, took my hand. If you need somewhere to stay, you can come here. I mean that. I appreciate it, but it's my apartment. I'm not leaving. Then let me talk to him. Let me try to understand why he'd planned something so cruel. That's between you and him. But I'm done. Whatever you say won't change that. She nodded, still crying. I thought you'd be my daughter-in-law. I'd already started planning the engagement party. I know. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. He does. The 30 days crawled. He moved most of his stuff out the first week, coming when I was at work to avoid me. I changed the locks anyway. He still had keys and I didn't trust him not to make copies. 2 weeks in, I found out about the money. I'd been checking our joint account regularly. On day 14, I logged in and found $3,000 missing, withdrawn in cash over several days in small amounts that wouldn't trigger alerts. I called the bank. The withdrawals were made with his debit card at various ATMs. Completely legal since his name was on the account. But I knew that wasn't his money. I'd deposited $4,000 over the past 2 months. He'd deposited $500. I called the lawyer. She said I could sue, but it would be hard to prove which money was whose in a joint account. My best bet was close it before he could take more. I did, but the damage was done. $3,000 gone. Money I'd needed. The rage was all-consuming. I texted him. I know you took the money. That's theft. He texted back. It was a joint account. My money as much as yours. You contributed maybe 10%. Prove it. I wanted to drive to his brother's and confront him, but I knew that's what he wanted. He was baiting me, trying to make me lose control so he could tell people I was crazy. Instead, I documented everything. Screenshots, printouts, added them to the folder with the recording and eviction notice. If I needed court, I'd have evidence. But what really got me was researching the executive. That's when I found out he'd been cheating. The friend who mentioned her didn't even realize we'd broken up. I saw him with that executive at a restaurant. They seemed serious. When did he start dating her? Executive? Yeah, the one from that consulting firm. The one he introduced you to at that networking event last year. I remembered. Tall, polished, expensive suit. He'd spent the whole night talking to her while I stood awkwardly nearby. He said it was just networking. I found her social media, scrolled back. There he was in the background of a photo from 8 months ago. Another from 6 months ago at a restaurant I recognized, our anniversary restaurant. He'd told me he had a work dinner that night. We'd moved our celebration to the following weekend. He'd taken her to our anniversary dinner 8 months ago. We'd been together for years. He'd been cheating for at least the last year of our relationship, maybe longer. I called the friend back. We were together until 2 months ago. Silence. Oh my God. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. Did everyone know? I don't think so. At least. I didn't. Of course not. Why would he mention me? I was just the woman paying his bills while he pursued someone better, someone richer, someone who could advance his career. But here's the thing, it actually helped. Finding out about the cheating made everything click into place. This wasn't about me not being enough. This was about him being fundamentally broken, a manipulator, a user, someone who saw relationships as transactions. I wasn't sad about it. I was pissed. 3 weeks in, he started the harassment. Constant texts, apologies, declarations of love, promises to change. When I didn't respond, they turned angry, accusations that I'd never loved him, that I was cold, that I'd wasted his time. I blocked his number. He called from his brother's phone, blocked that, created fake social media accounts. I blocked everything and made all my accounts private. 28 days in, he showed up at my workplace. I was walking to my car in the hospital parking garage when he appeared from behind a pillar. "We need to talk." I stopped, heart pounding. "You need to leave. Just 5 minutes, please." "No, you're not supposed to contact me. There's no restraining order. I can contact you if I want." He was right. The lawyer said it would be hard to get one without a direct threat. "I have nothing to say to you." "Then just listen. I've been thinking about everything. You're right. I was controlling, manipulative. I took you for granted, but I want to change. I've started therapy." "Good for you." "I didn't know I needed to. You never told me how unhappy you were." "I told you dozens of times. You didn't listen because you didn't make it clear how serious it was." "So, this is my fault?" "No, that's not what I meant. I'm just saying we both made mistakes. We can fix this. There is no we anymore. You have 2 days left. Get your stuff and leave me alone. I don't have anywhere else to put my stuff. My brother's place is too small. Not my problem. Can't I just leave some things in storage? I'll get them eventually." "No, get it out by Friday or I'm donating it." "You can't do that. That's my property." "Then remove it by the deadline like the notice says." I walked past him to my car. He followed. "Natalie, please don't do this." "Do what?" "Enforce boundaries? Hold you accountable?" I got in my car, locked the doors. He stood outside saying something I couldn't hear. I started the engine and drove away. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. I'd changed the locks, but what if he'd made copies? What if he decided to break in? I called my best friend at 2 a.m. "Can I stay with you for a few nights?" "Of course." "What happened?" "He showed up at my work." "I don't feel safe." "Drive over. I'll wait up." I threw clothes in a bag, grabbed my laptop, important documents, medication, left a lamp on so the apartment would look occupied. Drove to her place, checking my rearview mirror constantly. She had the door open before I reached it. "Are you okay?" "No, but I will be." I stayed 4 days. On day 30, I went back with her as backup. He'd left his remaining stuff in the living room. Boxes of books, kitchen things, a lamp, a note on top. "I'll pick these up this weekend." I texted him from my friend's phone. "Your stuff is in the building storage unit downstairs. Code is 3792. You have until Sunday, then it's going to Goodwill." No response. Sunday came and went. The boxes were still there. I called Goodwill. Monday morning, a truck came and loaded everything. When it pulled away, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. But the relief didn't last. Even though he was physically gone, the apartment felt haunted. Certain TV shows we'd watched together made me nauseous. I couldn't sleep on his side of the bed. Everything reminded me of a relationship that had never been real. I started therapy. First session, I barely made it 10 minutes before crying. My therapist let me cry, handed me tissues, waited. "Tell me what brought you here." I told her everything. She listened without judgment, taking notes. "What do you want to work on?" "I want to understand how I didn't see it. How I let myself be manipulated." "That's a starting point. But I want you to consider something else." "What?" "How to trust yourself again. Right now, you're blaming yourself for not seeing what he deliberately hid. But the real work is learning to trust your instincts, recognize red flags, set boundaries before things get to this point." We met every Tuesday. Sometimes I cried the whole session. Sometimes I was angry. Sometimes I just sat there numb. 6 weeks post-breakup, I saw him with someone new. Coffee shop near my apartment. I was working on my laptop when he walked in with a tall blonde woman. She was laughing at something he said. He had his hand on the small of her back. They looked happy. My chest felt like someone had punched it. They didn't see me. I was in the back corner behind a pillar. I watched them order, sit by the window. She kept touching his arm. He was doing that thing where he leaned in close, giving full attention. Same thing he'd done with me in the beginning. I felt sorry for her. I packed up and left before they could notice. Walked home in a daze. Called my best friend. He's already with someone else. Are you sure? I saw them at the coffee shop. She was all over him, and he looked so happy. Maybe it's nothing serious. Does it matter? 6 weeks and he's moved on like I never existed. But here's what I realized after I hung up. It didn't actually hurt the way I expected. I wasn't jealous. I was worried for her because I knew exactly how this would go. The love bombing, the gradual erosion of boundaries, the manipulation, the moment she'd realized she'd been with a stranger the whole time. Part of me wanted to warn her, run after them, pull her aside, show her the recording. But would she listen? Would she believe me? Or would she do what I'd have done 3 years in, dismiss it as jealousy from a bitter ex? I deleted social media from my phone instead. All of it. If I couldn't control my impulse to check his pages, I needed to remove the temptation. 3 months post-breakup, I got a call from his mother. I need to tell you something about the executive, the woman he was seeing. I know about her. You do? I found out a few weeks ago. He was with her while we were together. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. If I had, it's okay. It's not your fault. I confronted him about it. He admitted everything. Said he'd been networking for his career. That she could open doors for him. That you were never supposed to find out because he was going to marry you anyway, and it didn't matter. Didn't matter. I'm so sorry. I raised him better than this. I don't know what happened. What happened is he's a manipulator. He sees people as tools. And I was the tool that kept his life comfortable while he pursued the tool that could advance his career. That's exactly what he is. And I'm ashamed that I didn't see it sooner. She paused. The executive dumped him, by the way, once she figured out what he was doing. He's with someone new now. That blonde girl you probably saw. I did see them at a coffee shop. She's 24, works retail, has no idea what she's in for. Another pause. I've thought about warning her, but I don't think she'd believe me. She wouldn't. I wouldn't have believed anyone 3 years in. I'm sorry for my part in this, for giving my blessing, for being excited about the proposal, for raising someone capable of this. You didn't raise him to be this way. He chose it. Maybe. But I should have seen the signs. Join the club. We hung up. And something shifted in me because I wasn't the only one who'd been manipulated. His own mother had been manipulated. His brother had been turned into an accomplice. His new girlfriend was being manipulated right now. The executive had been manipulated until she figured it out. This wasn't about me being stupid or blind or weak. This was about him being really, really good at this. The anger started to fade after that. Not the boundary setting, not the self-protection, but the anger at myself for not seeing it sooner. 4 months post-breakup, I started dating again. Nothing serious. Coffee dates that went nowhere. A few second dates that fizzled. I wasn't ready for anything serious, but I was trying. Work got better, too. I'd thrown myself into it after the breakup. Picked up extra shifts, volunteered for projects. My supervisor noticed and promoted me. More money, more purpose, helped fill the empty spaces. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with. Realized how many people I'd slowly stopped seeing because he made it difficult. Dinner plans that always turned into arguments. Girls' nights that ended with him calling repeatedly until I left early. They welcomed me back without judgment. 5 months post-breakup, I finally felt like I could breathe. My therapist asked what changed. I don't know. I just woke up one day and realized I wasn't thinking about him first thing anymore. I was thinking about coffee and work and normal things. That's healing. It's not linear, but you're doing it. What if I never trust anyone again? You will, just probably not the same way. You'll trust with your eyes open now. That's not a bad thing. 6 months post-breakup, I ran into his brother at the grocery store. He saw me first, started to walk past, then stopped. Natalie, hi. Awkward silence. I owe you an apology for that conversation, for laughing about what he was planning, for not saying something. You didn't know me well enough to warn me. Still, I should have said something to him at least. Would he have listened? Probably not. He shifted his weight. He's already talking about proposing to the new one, the blonde girl. I told him it's too soon. He said, when you know, you know. Jesus, I know. Mom's freaking out, trying to figure out how to warn her without driving him away completely. She won't believe it until she figures it out herself. That's what I told Mom. He looked at me. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. You deserved better. Thanks. He walked away. And I felt nothing. No anger at him. No desire to tell him off. Just nothing. That was when I knew I was actually okay. Not healed, not over it, but okay. 1 year post-breakup, I went to a mutual friend's wedding. I knew he'd be there. I went anyway. Wore a dress that made me feel confident. Brought my best friend for moral support. He was there with the blonde woman. She looked young, clingy, laughing too loud. I recognized the body language. The way she angled herself toward him, seeking approval, the way he touched her possessively. During the reception, he approached me at the bar. Hey. Hey. Awkward silence. You look good. Thanks. How have you been? Fine. You? Good. Really good. I'm engaged, actually. We're getting married in the spring. He said it expecting a reaction. Shock, jealousy, regret. I felt none of it. Congratulations. Yeah, it all happened pretty fast, but when you know, you know. Sure. I actually wanted to thank you for everything that happened. It made me realize things about myself. Made me want to be better. I looked at him. This man I'd spent time with. Tried to see sincerity. Found none. Just another manipulation. Another way to rewrite history so he came out looking good. You're welcome. Maybe we could get coffee sometime. Catch up properly. I don't think so. Come on. We can at least be civil. We're being civil right now. That's enough. He looked annoyed. Mask slipping. You're still mad. I'm not mad. I just don't want to get coffee with you. After everything I just said about changing, you didn't change. You just found someone new. I hope she figures it out faster than I did. I walked away, found my friend on the dance floor, stayed there the rest of the night, didn't look at him again. Didn't care what he thought or told his new fiancée later. For the first time in a year, I felt completely free. Not happy, not healed, not magically fixed, but free. Because here's what I learned. You don't get closure from the person who hurt you. You don't get apologies that mean anything. You don't get them to suddenly realize what they did and change. You get closure by deciding you're done waiting for it. You get healing by doing the work even when it's hard and messy and you're not sure it's working. You get freedom by choosing it every single day, even when part of you wants to go back to what was familiar. I chose freedom every day for a year and eventually it became real. That's my story. That's how I went from being someone who almost got humiliated at a family dinner to being someone who knows exactly what she won't tolerate ever again. Was it worth it? God, yes. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. But I hope I never have to. 18 months post-breakup, I met someone new. Not through an app, not at a bar, at a continuing education seminar for work. He was a physical therapist at another hospital taking the same certification course. We got paired up for a group exercise and discovered we had the same dark sense of humor about hospital bureaucracy. We started getting coffee after class, just talking, no pressure. He told me about his divorce 3 years ago. I told him about my breakup. We compared notes on rebuilding after betrayal. The worst part was trusting again, he said. Not just trusting a new person, but trusting myself. I kept thinking, if I got it so wrong before, how do I know I won't get it wrong again? Did you figure it out? Not really. I just decided I'd rather risk getting hurt again than spend the rest of my life afraid to try. We dated slowly. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into weekend hikes. Weekend hikes turned into meeting each other's friends. Each step felt terrifying. I kept waiting for red flags, for signs that he was hiding something, for the moment the mask would slip. But the mask never slipped because there was no mask. He was just genuinely kind. When I told him about my ex, about the planned humiliation and the manipulation, he got angry on my behalf. "That's messed up," he said. "You deserved better." "I know that now." "Do you?" "Because sometimes I hear you talk and I can tell you still blame yourself." "I'm working on it." "Good, because none of that was your fault." 6 months into dating him, I had my first major panic attack. We were at his apartment watching a movie when he casually mentioned he'd gone to lunch with a female colleague. Something in my brain short-circuited. I started asking questions. Who was she? Why hadn't he mentioned it before? How long had they been friends? He looked confused but answered patiently. Showed me her social media. She was married, had 3 kids, offered to introduce us if I wanted. I felt ridiculous but couldn't stop the spiral of anxiety. "I'm sorry," I said, hands shaking. "This isn't about you. It's about him." "I know." "No, I mean, really, I trust you. Logically, I trust you. But there's this part of my brain that won't let go of what happened." "That's okay. Trauma doesn't follow logic." We talked about it with my therapist. She called it hypervigilance, a common response to betrayal. My brain had learned that people I loved could hurt me, and now it was constantly scanning for threats. The solution wasn't to suppress the anxiety, but to work through it gradually, building new evidence that not everyone was dangerous. It was hard work. Some days I wanted to quit, to tell him it was too complicated, that I was too damaged for a relationship. But he was patient. When I spiraled, he talked me down. When I needed space, he gave it. When I needed reassurance, he provided it without making me feel needy. 2 years and 3 months post-breakup, I moved into a new apartment. The old one had too many ghosts. Even after all the time that had passed, I'd walk into the bedroom and remember finding him there with his bags packed. I'd cook in the kitchen and think about all the dinners I'd made while he sat on the couch. I'd see the corner where we'd had that final fight. The new place was smaller, but it was mine. Nobody else's memories attached to it. I painted the walls colors I liked. Hung art I'd chosen. Bought furniture that reflected my taste, not his. My boyfriend helped me move and didn't once suggest his preferences should influence my choices. When I said I wanted the living room blue, he said okay, and started painting. "Don't you have an opinion?" I asked. "About your apartment?" "Not really. It's your space. But you'll be spending time here." "Sure, but I have my own place." "This is yours. Make it exactly what you want." That's when I knew I loved him. Not because he didn't have opinions, but because he understood that I needed autonomy. That after years of someone else controlling every detail of my life, I needed to prove I could make my own choices. 2 years and 8 months post-breakup, I got a message from his mother. I hadn't spoken to her since the day I'd shown her the recording. She tried to call a few times in the months after, but I'd never answered. Too raw, too complicated. Eventually, she'd stopped trying. The message was simple. "I'm sorry for what he did to you. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I hope you're doing well." I stared at it for a long time before responding. "Thank you. I hope you're doing well, too." She wrote back. "He's getting married next month. I don't know if you knew." I heard. "I worry about her. His fiancée, she reminds me of you when you first started dating. Sweet. Eager to please. Blind to his flaws. Have you said anything to her?" "How can I? He's my son. But I keep thinking, what if she ends up like you did? What if I'm complicit in another woman's pain by staying silent?" I didn't know what to tell her. Part of me wanted to say yes, warn her, save her from what I'd gone through. But would she listen? Would she believe it? Or would she do what I'd have done if someone had warned me 3 years in, dismiss it as jealousy or misunderstanding? "I don't know if there's a right answer," I typed finally. "But whatever you decide, that's between you and your conscience." She didn't respond after that. I hoped she'd found peace with whatever choice she made. I hoped the fiancé would be okay. But mostly, I hoped I'd never have to think about any of them again. 3 years post-breakup, I got engaged. Not a grand romantic gesture. Just a quiet moment in my boyfriend's apartment. Both of us exhausted after a long week eating takeout on the couch. He turned to me and said, "I want to spend my life with you. What do you think?" I thought about the ring I'd bought for my ex, the proposal I'd planned, the humiliation I'd narrowly avoided, how different this moment was. No performance, no audience, just two people who knew each other's worst parts and chose each other anyway. "I think yes," I said.
Yeah.
He kissed me and we finished our takeout and later we talked about logistics. Small wedding, just family and close friends. Nothing elaborate, something that felt like us, not like a show for other people. My best friend cried when I told her. "I'm so happy for you. You deserve this." I think I'm finally starting to believe that. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony at a botanical garden. My family came, his family came, close friends, maybe 50 people total. It was perfect. During the reception, I saw my ex-boyfriend's mother standing near the bar. I hadn't invited her, but my mom had. They'd become friends during my relationship and stayed in touch. She looked older, sadder. When she saw me, she smiled. "You look beautiful," she said. "Thank you for coming. I wouldn't have missed it. I'm glad you found someone who treats you right. How's your son?" Her smile dimmed. "Divorced already. Lasted 8 months. I'm sorry." "Don't be. You tried to warn me in your way. I didn't listen." She hesitated. "He's in therapy now. Real therapy. Says he's finally starting to understand what he did wrong." I hope that's true. Me, too. But even if it is, it doesn't undo the damage. You were right to leave. I should have said that years ago. She hugged me. This woman who'd almost been my mother-in-law, who'd given me her blessing to marry her son before I discovered who he really was. Then she left and I went back to my wedding, my husband, my life. For years post-breakup, someone asked me if I'd forgiven him. We were at a dinner party. The conversation had turned to exes and bad relationships. And I told a sanitized version of my story. Not the full details. Those felt too personal for casual dinner conversation, but the broad strokes, the betrayal, the manipulation, the escape. "So, have you forgiven him?" the woman across from me asked. "Or are you still angry?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "Neither," I said finally. "I don't think about him enough to be angry anymore. But forgiveness implies he's asked for it and earned it and he hasn't done either. Mostly, I just feel nothing. He's a person who used to be in my life, who hurt me badly, who I survived. That's all." That sounds lonely. It sounds like peace to me. And it was. After years of therapy, of processing, of rebuilding, I'd reached a place where he was just a chapter in my story. Not even a particularly interesting chapter anymore. Just something that happened that shaped me that I'd moved past. My life was full now. My husband who still surprised me with his kindness. My career which I loved. My friends who'd stuck with me through everything. My therapist who'd helped me understand that healing wasn't linear. That setbacks were normal. That growth took time. I still had bad days. Days where I wondered if I was too damaged for a healthy relationship. If I'd ever stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Days where small things triggered big reactions. My husband taking too long to respond to a text or mentioning a female friend I hadn't heard of before or suggesting a change to our plans without checking with me first. But those days were getting fewer. And when they came, I had tools now. I could recognize the panic for what it was. An echo of old trauma, not a reflection of current reality. I could communicate it to my husband instead of spiraling alone. I could remind myself that I'd survived worse than this and came out stronger. 5 years post-breakup, I saw him one last time. I was at a coffee shop, working on my laptop, when he walked in, alone this time. He looked different, older, tired, less polished than I remembered. He didn't notice me at first. Ordered his coffee, sat down with his phone, looked like any other person on any other day. I could have left. Packed up my things and slipped out before he saw me. But I didn't. I just kept working. After a while, he looked up, caught my eye, did a double take. He came over. Natalie, hi. I didn't expect to see you here. I come here a lot. I live 2 blocks away. Oh, right. Awkward pause. How are you? Good. You? I'm okay. Getting there. Another pause. He looked like he wanted to say something, working up courage. Finally. I owe you an apology. A real one. I treated you terribly. I was manipulative and controlling, and I made you responsible for my happiness while giving nothing back. I'm sorry. I studied his face, looking for signs of manipulation, of strategy. I found only exhaustion. Okay, I said. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? I accept your apology. I hope you've changed, but it doesn't undo what happened. I know. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I finally understand what I did. Good. That's good. He nodded, shifted his weight. My mom told me you got married. I did. I'm glad. You deserve to be happy. Thank you. One more long pause. Then I should let you get back to work. Okay. He walked back to his table, collected his coffee, left. I watched him go. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no satisfaction. Just the quiet acknowledgement that someone who'd once been central to my life was now just another stranger in a coffee shop. I went back to work, finished my report, went home to my husband, who was making dinner in our kitchen. We ate together, talked about our days, watched a documentary he'd been wanting to see. Normal. Comfortable. Safe. That night, lying in bed next to someone who loved me without trying to control me, I thought about the woman I'd been 5 years ago. The one who'd stood in a bathroom with a ring in her pocket and a recording on her phone, frozen by betrayal but too scared to act. I wished I could go back and tell her it would be okay. That leaving would be hard, but not as hard as staying. That she was stronger than she knew. That she'd survive this and build something better on the other side. But maybe she already knew. Maybe that's why she recorded the conversation. Why she didn't propose. Why she left instead of trying to fix something that was already broken. Maybe she was stronger than I gave her credit for. I fell asleep thinking about that woman, grateful to her for having the courage to start over. For choosing dignity over comfort. For believing she deserved better, even when that belief was shaky and uncertain and terrifying. She was right. She did deserve